Welcome back to part 3 of Textual Criticism, Sources for the Hebrew Bible, and we're looking at the Masoretic Text. So today we're going to look at the second period of transmission of the Masoretic Text, what the sources are for it, and the character, the overall nature of the transmission during that period. So let's get right into it. We looked at the first period yesterday, and it essentially covered at least the latter portion of the Second Temple period. Maybe earlier, it's hard to tell. The beginning is unclear. But it ended with the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE. Well, that's where period 2 picks up, go figure, from the destruction of the Second Temple to about the 8th century. So what were the texts transmitted like? How were they copied? And what the sources are all come from that period. So what are the sources? Well, they come primarily from the beginning and the end of the period. From the early portion, we have the Judean desert texts, including Nachal Hever, which has Genesis, Numbers, and Psalms, fragments from those books or sections, and Wadi Murabbaat, with the Torah, Isaiah, and the Minor Prophets. Now, later in the period, we have the Cairo Geniza, which Geniza is a storeroom. And these texts, they were religious texts, many of them. When they were copied and they came out or they fell out of use, they couldn't be destroyed. The belief was that they couldn't be destroyed. And so they were placed in a Geniza, if at all possible, in a storeroom. And so from this, we have recovered tens of thousands of biblical fragments. So other sources from the second period of transmission, we have several Targumim. We have the Syriac Peshitta, various recensions of the Septuagint, so Aquila, Symmachus, the fifth column of Origen's Exapla, and also the Latin Vulgate. Now, what is the character of the second period of transmission? The textual evidence from this second period of transmission reflects the tradition of the Masoretic text. So all of the sources seem to reflect the Masoretic textual tradition. The choice of the MT over other traditions, however, does not indicate its superiority for textual criticism. So we can't say that just because the sources in this period utilize more and more or reflect the Masoretic textual tradition that somehow the MT is closer to the original or is a better source for textual criticism. That's not necessarily the case. It just meant that it was authoritative for the Jewish community and that it was copied because of that. So we need to keep that in mind as we do textual criticism. So tomorrow, finally, we will get to the third period of transmission, which will take us to the end of the Middle Ages, and we'll look at how the Masoretic tradition was standardized, formalized, with all of its accompanying vocalizations and vowel patterns, all these other things. Join us tomorrow for the third period of transmission, the Masoretic text. Thanks.